Calvin Dark, he's the president of RC Communications, a public relations firm here in Washington. For those keeping score at home, the president gave a primetime national address earlier in the week, is said to have had a temper tantrum with the congressional leaders after handing out candy, which was a point everybody made, and then, of course, visited the border, and then this constant drumbeat, this threat, national emergency, and then he appears to be waffling on it. Why do you think that is, and what happens next?
Well, I think the reason he's waffling on it is he always sends out trial balloons to see if the crazy idea has how much traction it gets. And most of the Republicans and Democrats didn't think it was a good idea, with the exception of a couple. So I think that's why he moved back. But I think the bigger picture is this. His whole argument for being elected president was that he's the ultimate deal maker. He literally wrote the book, Art of the Deal. And seeing him now with not being able to deal with congressional leaders, that's puncturing that best part of his image that he said is what America needed, and he was the only one that could do, making these deals.
But if you're going to make a deal, the best way to make a deal is to get that wall done during the first 2 years of his administration, when the Republicans had both chambers of Congress. If it was such a big priority, why didn't it happen then?
I think the reason it didn't happen then is nobody doubts that immigration reform is necessary now, and it has been for decades. It was President Trump's signature campaign promise, and as the House Representatives changed over to Democrats, he now has to go back to what is his argument for 2020. And we kind of saw this before the midterm elections, that this caravan, which I don't even know if they ever made it here, but they were apparently terrorists and criminals and people carrying drugs on their back, he revived it again now with the shutdown. Because what he knows is on this issue, you either agree with him or you don't. But if he were to solve it, then you have to look at the economy. You have to look at various foreign affairs. So with this, it strengthens his base and sucks the oxygen out of the room for all the other important things that he should be talking about.
And also, I think, probably takes attention off the Mueller investigation, which he probably likes quite a bit. Exactly. Senator Chuck Grassley from Iowa, a Republican, introduced the End Government Shutdowns Act to prevent the federal government from shutting down ever again. 9 other Republicans signed on with this. I think they can shut down this shutdown by just those 9-10 Republican senators joining the Democrats, except Mitch McConnell's not bringing this up for a vote. Right. What's going to be the pressure point where he will, do you think?
I think the pressure point's going to be, as you saw, many federal workers didn't get a paycheck today, hundreds of thousands. But what's going to be more impactful on this are the thousands of contractors who depend on the federal government who won't get reimbursed. This morning I was flying back to D.C. from North Carolina, and I was in the TSA security line, and someone in front of me asked the TSA agent if they had gotten paid today. With a very angry face, she said no. And that kind of brought it home that when people start to see the shutdown affecting things like airport security and parks, and then in a few weeks, food assistance, then that's going to put pressure on Democrats and Republicans. And if that keeps up, President Trump can't avoid keeping this on. They would have to do something he couldn't veto.
Well, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that the Trump administration budget office is preparing for the shutdown to go all the way to the end of February. To your point, if we see more TSA people calling out sick, if we see air traffic controllers saying, we're not going to report for work, I mean, we're looking at chaos, aren't we?
Yes, and it's so interesting that this is chaos because he wants a wall to stop chaos at the southern border. And I think that most Americans didn't believe that Mexico was going to pay for the wall, but what this shutdown is showing them is that many Americans are actually going to pay for the wall with this shutdown and the billions of dollars it'll cost. Now that it's historic, is the longest shutdown that we've had in American history.
How does it end?
Well, the difference with this shutdown and every other one that I've seen is as it goes on, the parties get closer together and they inch together and come with a compromise. This time, they're getting farther apart. They're not even talking. The Senate and the House adjourned today and they went to their homes and did everything else as normal. So you have two sides that aren't even talking. So how they bridge that gap, I don't know.
It's very interesting. We'll keep our eye on it. Calvin, thanks for coming in. On your birthday, no less. Appreciate it.
Thank you.